All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance to Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Psychopaths, episode 11.
Yes.
And things are going down.
Yes, they definitely are.
It's not good for Kogami.
No. Not good for Kogami, but I think more importantly, it's not good for whoever's going to be our early character death, which I think is going to be Masayoka.
Okay, I think it's a little bit early for that. I think Masayoka is going to be a little bit more harsh. It's going to be a little bit more feeling and stuff like that.
Fair enough, but this is kind of like the mid-season finale.
Yeah, I think it's really telling that we haven't had a main character death thus far, but it is about that time. I could see it happening in the next 2 to 3 episodes, though.
Sure.
Or this episode. I don't know. But Kogami is also with Akane's friend.
Yes.
And
Yuki, I believe, is her name.
Yeah, Yuki. So that's someone that could be also in pretty big trouble here.
They could use that as the reason for why Masayoka dies. He dies to save her or something.
Sure, or saving Kogami. I think it would be better for him to save Kogami.
That's true.
Not that we don't care about Yuki, but she's not a main character. Sorry,
right.
So we have to be thinking about that. Also, I really think Inspector Ginoza is one of those characters that kind of has to die at some point.
Yes, I just think it's going to be later.
I also think either Kagari or Kunizuka, one of those two could die.
Kunizuka needs a bit more development before.
I think it would be kind of dumb to just kill off the only other female main character
who's had 5 lines
other than
so
the
far.
Information analyst, which I always forget.
Yes.
But she's rarely in the show. She's kind of a supporting side character.
Unless headquarters gets attacked, there's no reason for her to die.
Yeah. Pretty much, this is Kogami and Akane's story with side characters.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. But Makishima, is testing Kogami, or not even that, but also his accomplice. So there's the potential for some weird interactions this episode. So obviously Kogami has to make it out of this, right?
Yes. But
that means the other hunter guy he's going down. He's gonna die.
Probably. I would not be surprised at all if the hunter guy died either this episode or the next episode if they decided to drag it out a little bit.
I feel like also we've kind of taken a step back from the Sybil system.
Yes.
Which is kind of good because we're getting more in depth into the characters and interactions and stuff. And that's where Makishima really came into the forefront as being a more main character than most of the MWPSB. I can still remember that whole thing that I don't know what it stands for, but MWPSB. All right. I think that's about it. We're just going to pick up and see how Kogami gets out of this situation. All right, let's get into it. Oh, holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
They want to spoil my fun.
That's new.
Yeah.
User authentication. Enforcership to Kogami. You are a valid user.
Jeez.
The target's threat judgment has been reappraised. Enforcement. Destroy decomposing. Target will be completely annihilated. Please proceed with maximum caution. Carefully and eliminate the target.
Oh.
I've got bad news. Your time is up. Seems they've destroyed the jamming device. According to protocol, the main unit of the MWPSB is about to rush in.
Lovecraft was just blown to hell. That bastard enforcer destroyed it. And you're suggesting I run? Not even you could be that cruel of a man.
From here on, it won't be a game anymore.
That's exactly right. Tell me the truth, Makishima. Surely you didn't invest all this time in me because you thought I'd turn tail now, did you? That wouldn't be interesting to you at all.
Clearly you know me too well. I'll witness the splendor of your life, all the way until you draw your last breath.
Oh! Holy crap!
That's right, he's metal, so...
Yeah. So he doesn't need that arm.
How fitting.
Very fitting.
checkmate for you soon enough, Enforcer Hound.
Crime coefficient 328. Enforcement action required.
Nice.
Oh. That was...
Wow. That was awesome.
Okay, that was perfect. Yeah, I need medical help too much.
Stop it! Let me go!
Wait. What? Makishima? Makishima?
Yuki,
Do you know that voice?
it sounds like my friend who went missing. Please, we have to find her. Let's go.
Oh, found Kogami.
That's Kogami. Kogami!
Keep your guard up. Keep your guard up.
Connie. There's a second man here. He handcuffed your friend and went that direction. This is Hound 1. Can anybody hear me?
This is Shepherd 1. What's your status?
I'm tending to Hound 3. He's hurt so bad I'm surprised he's still ticking. A culprit is on the run with a hostage. Shepherd 2 is pursuing him alone. You have to hurry. I don't think she's gonna fare so well by herself.
Damn it. Message has been received. Stay right where you are, Hound 1. We'll head there to assist you now.
Good of you to join us, Inspector. Hold down Kogami so he won't try to follow me.
Yep.
Good.
Masayoka's toad's gonna die.
Don't know when to quit. As usual.
Stop right there.
Holy crap.
This is the MWPSB. Drop your weapon and surrender.
His psychopath isn't gonna show up.
Crime coefficient 79. Enforcement action not required.
I knew it.
Trigger is now locked.
Yep.
I knew it.
Akane,
But her...
hold on, Yuki. You'll be fine.
But her psychopaths, watch.
Oh yes, I know your face. You're the promising young inspector, Akane Tsunemori, aren't you?
You think you can escape from me?
Don't they train you to buy time for your backup in this situation?
Right.
You should promote lively conversation to distract me. I'm sure a more experienced detective would remember that.
Whoa.
Now, when you said multiple crimes, which exactly were you referring to?
No!
Masayoka Mido? Or perhaps Rikako Oreo?
Just as I thought.
Is he gonna...
People only have real
He's gonna
value
shoot
in
her and it's
acting
not
on
gonna
their own
affect the
impulses and
psychopaths. Yeah,
desires.
just watch.
So I've asked quite a few people about their suppressed free will. I encourage them, I facilitate, and then I watch for the truth to play out.
Don't talk yourself up. You're a criminal, nothing more.
There's a good conversation starter. How
Yeah.
do we define criminal? Maybe that dominator you're holding. Shall we allow the Sybil system, that which governs it, to decide what
He
I
knows.
Crime coefficient under 50. Enforcement action not required.
Whoa.
Trigger will remain locked.
He's
By
lowering
reading a
it.
bioorganism's force field using a somatic scan, some very smart people have found a way to analyze a person's mind. The intelligence of science finally uncovered the secret of our souls, and our society has changed drastically because of it. The problem is free will has been stripped from the equation.
Yep.
And if man is not judged by their choices, then how are we really deciding who is good and who is evil?
That's true.
True.
What on earth are you talking about?
If we base our lives on Sybil's oracle and not our own free will, then can our souls have value? Well, since I'm here,
Oh.
I guess I'll try testing you too. Let's put your judgment as a detective to the test.
Hold on. What are you planning to do now?
I'm going to stand next to this woman named Yuki Funahara, and I'm going to kill her. Right before your eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Crime coefficient 48. No enforcement action required. Trigger will remain locked.
If you want to stop me, instead of using that useless piece of scrap metal and circuits, you can pick up the gun
use
I
a
just
regular
gave you
gun.
and shoot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger and a bullet will fire. It's your choice.
I can't do that. It's not my decision. That isn't how it works.
You mean because I'm a good, upstanding citizen? Because that's what
Okay,
Trustee
just-
Sybil has declared.
Just... Oh.
Oh.
Crime coefficient 32. No enforcement action
Check.
required.
Check Yuki's
Trigger will remain
psychopath.
No.
Why?
That's a question I've been asking for a long time. Ever since I was a child, actually. My psychopath has never been anything but the purest white. It's never gotten cloudy, not even for a moment. I think my body must be deluding itself, performing all sorts of vital reactions as if I'm a saint. Encouraging me to continue on with a clean conscience, doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah, Kane's thinking about it.
I'm warning you now. Let her go.
You're not going to be able to hit him if you one-hand it.
Or else you'll kill me, get up off of the sidelines, and for once lay claim to your own soul. That would be a rather precious ending in its own ironic way. Feel it, the importance of life resting gingerly against your fingertip. As long as you're Sybil's puppet, you can never experience that. That's the weight of decision and free will.
Yep.
Find your resolve. Unless you hold the gun firmly, the bullet will miss. Now, aim with the intent to kill.
That's a bad idea. You could have hit your friend.
She didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
She just did it to get the feeling out.
Not enough resolve. How very regrettable for you. Your failure has cost your friend's life.
Oh, crap.
You've disappointed me, so I have to give you your punishment.
Don't! Please!
Regret helplessness, Akane, and feel true despair.
Crime coefficient 0. No enforcement action required. Trigger will remain locked.
Yuki, no!
That's Akane!
Oh, but now her psychopaths.
I let her die
Yeah.
without doing anything. I let her die without doing anything.
Yep. Snap out of it.
Tell me what happened.
The man from the picture. It was him.
What man? What do you mean?
Shogo Makishima. The Dominator won't work. It won't judge him.
Okay.
All right.
That was awesome.
That was amazing. I saw the thing coming of him, the Zero, like,
Oh, yeah,
we both saw
absolutely.
that coming, but the way they executed that, oh,
That was so fantastic.
that was so good. That was, because it's like, he's so sick and so twisted, but the points that he makes about, like, free will, like the idea,
absolutely right.
the idea that if you take away someone's free will, there's no opportunity for good or bad.
Right. Well, not only that, the soul itself, effectively, he's saying, was
Dies.
discovered by science.
Right.
And by that measure, whatever they're judging, he doesn't necessarily have the trigger in him.
So he literally is complete, like, just a soulless bastard.
Well, that's one way to look at it. But one thing that I think he's hinting at is that he's beyond the soul.
Sure.
He's something more than that. And what he's basically trying to do in his own way is to let other people's souls be free.
Right.
And potentially, I think what he's actually trying to do is by looking for other free souls, he's looking for other people like him.
Right.
And by looking for other people like him, it's basically noting that he will at some point find other people like him in the story.
Yeah.
So is Akane someone like him, actually?
I think so. I think that's what
that's what they're hinting at.
And especially with that, I love that last shot, how it shows him walking the crowded street, and then it just zooms out and it goes up. The picture that I got from that is that basically that he is alone in this world.
Right.
Even though he's surrounded by all these people, he is
truly
completely
alone.
and truly alone.
Yeah, and no one else really understands kind of what he's going through, because like here's another way to look at it. He's a psychopath. Like he's got no remorse or any kind of, you know, guilt associated with the actions that he's doing. That, you know, we can get into the whole topic of morality and stuff, but let's just assume, yes, killing people is immoral, guys.
Right.
So in what he's doing, he feels nothing about the...
No.
So it doesn't weigh on him in any way, thus not increasing his psychopath. If anything, what's actually... He might be deceiving himself in some way. When he started moving towards the intent to kill, his psychopaths got lower. So to an extent, that might be why he kept someone around like Tsunagachi. What? Sorry, I don't remember his name.
The guy with the
cybernetic guy. Yeah. Yeah. He was recognizing a somewhat kindred spirit in him.
Yeah.
Because he was truly almost completely soulless in the fact that his body had been mostly replaced except his brain.
Yeah.
And now, you know, Makishima is basically saying, yes, the soul effectively resides in the brain, so, you know, you still have one, so you're not truly like me.
Now, okay. But it can't... Makishima, his whole deal can't just be pure psychopathy.
No, it's not exactly.
Because they would have planned for that with the Sybil system, right?
Because he says he was born this way.
Right.
So one of the things that you can... come to a conclusion is that he's some kind of experiment. Like, he's like, think about it this way. So you're the government, you know, we're the government. We're going to make the Sybil system, and it will judge everyone's souls perfectly. But, you know, we want to be able to make some, you know, we want to stretch things here and there. There's no perfect system. So the idea that what we'll do is we will try to like genetically or like biologically alter this specific type of people, that those people will be able to break the rules and we'll use them.
Possibly.
And Makishima is just a lost child, effectively, of that program.
I could see that.
It totally feels like that, because that's a very Japanese thing to have the system be corrupt and
yes, it is.
Or more like the evil corporation, effectively. Yeah. And the Sybil system is basically that without the corporation attached to it. It's just the system.
Now, here's something I want to point out, though. Reality is stranger than fiction.
Yes,
you get things that happen that just don't make sense. They seem like they're from a story. What was it? I heard something of this dude that got like struck by lightning and suddenly he could play the piano. Yeah, like weird stuff like that, right?
Right.
So I could also see Makishima being just one of those people where he's just weird. Like the Sybil system took a lot of things into account, but they never could have taken someone like him into account.
The one in a billion.
A billion,
you know? Yeah. I still think, though, that the reason why they're bringing this up at all is because someone else is out there is like Makishima. And that fits in kind of with my government experiment thing, that he's just one of them.
But if he was a government experiment, then he wouldn't have to look among all these other like fairly normal people in order to find someone like himself, right?
No, because
he would know that he's not alone because there are other experiments.
No, he was a kid, Jacob. Think about it. No. Think about it. He was born this way, according to him. If we take what he's saying at his face value.
So you're saying he was like grown in a petri dish or something?
No. Come on, Jacob. Think about Summer. Not Summer Glau. What's her name? From Firefly. River Tam. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. River Tam goes to a school.
Right.
But imagine if she was born with all those psychic abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
She never interacts with anyone from that from a child.
Sure.
She's taken away from that whole thing, gets ousted away, gets freed, never has to deal with it. Makishima grows up in the Sybil system just like everyone else, but never experiences his psychopaths going into any of the murky or gray areas, and so keeps testing it out all through growing up. It's like, I'm going to do little things here and there to see if it doesn't change, keeps doing bigger and bigger and bigger and worse things.
Right.
And now he's developed this whole philosophy already at a young age, because he can't be above 30 or 35.
Right. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I don't see how you could see that he would know anything about the government experiment thing. I think he's on a quest of self-discovery.
Yeah, okay, I could totally see that. I almost see, like, I almost don't think they're going to necessarily explain like why he's like this.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, not go that in depth into it. I mean, they might have something for it.
I think they will, but not as in depth as maybe I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But they will explain it. Like,
sure.
They almost not necessarily the why, but the how, if that makes sense. So let me explain.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. That there's going to be a plot related thing that shows that Makishima is not some special thing. Like it's going to cheapen his own goal and quest, and he's going to feel like, yes, I am the harbinger of the soul. I will bring freedom back to humanity. And then it's like, nah, you're just one of like 7 or one of 12 disciples or something like that were given the gift of freedom.
Maybe, but I don't know. It doesn't pass the sniff test. Now, granted, Psychopass has done a lot of things that we did not expect in the slightest. So
I feel like I can actually
totally
theorize now, Jacob. I feel like up until this point, Makishima.
Yeah, he was.
We guessed at this. It was a blank slate. Exactly. We guessed that he had a perfect psychopath.
Right.
And this is more than that. He can manipulate his own psychopath.
Right.
Because he was taunting her with lowering it. Basically, by him, I think that's what it was that he maybe can manipulate his own psychopath. It's not that it's only lower. He could make it higher theoretically, but he never wants to.
Sure.
So say he's at like 50 when she first points the Dominator at him. He starts doing all these things and waxing philosophically, talking about free will, and then he puts the knife to her neck and pulls back her hair, and he's basically saying, I'm about to kill her like in the next few seconds.
Right.
His psychopath drops down to 0.
Yep.
There was some other transitions in between there, but that's him basically saying, ha, look at where your system has failed you.
The system's broken, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And, okay, now here's something okay, if his psychopath is 0...
Right.
If that became known to the public as a whole, that there was a murdering psychopath with a psychopath of 0 pure white, right? Mm-hmm. That might cause a bit of civil unrest.
Just a little bit. I think that he's building up to that, though.
Right.
I think now a very logical goal that he could have.
I think that's what his master plan is. He basically is wanting to destroy the Sybil system, and he sees himself and the things that he can do and stuff as a means of just
instigating it.
Yeah, just instigating infrastructure.
I don't think he needs to be the one to break the Sybil system. I think he, if anything, feels some kind of connection to the transcendency of the Sybil system. He's like, the Sybil system is the judge, but I am beyond judgment. Sure. I am above the Sybil system. So now...
Okay, but he still ends up going after people that he believes... will secretly, apart from the Sybil system, do what they were always meant to do.
Yeah, I think he's looking for people like him. That's all that is.
Right, but that
explains it. Like, think about it.
I totally am on board with that.
Because up until now, there is no connection, really, that connects every single episodic antagonistic character. With other than that.
I'm completely on board with that, but it seems to me more like he has disdain for the Sybil system.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he likes the transcendentness or whatever.
No. I'm saying that he doesn't admire it. He feels himself above it. Well, yeah. He sees it as weak, as nothing. But I feel like he feels some kind of connection to it. Not an admiration of it. But just in the same way as the Sybil system is the judge of humanity currently, he's going to be the judge of the Sybil system.
Sure, but okay.
No, I think
all right, yeah, but okay.
That's where his god complex comes into play.
Well, yes, but he sees the Sybil system as like a crime against humanity.
Because a crime against the soul.
Well, yeah,
which is the heart of humanity. And that was a really interesting thing they brought up, Jacob. He mentioned a couple of philosophers here and there, which is kind of cool. The French guy. So people not having the freedom to choose, that kind of whole line of thinking basically puts into question: is he under the effect of that as well? Like here's where it gets a little bit interesting. I always look for contradictions in antagonists.
Well, in characters in general, yeah, those are great.
Well, yes, in characters, but specifically antagonists.
Okay.
Especially antagonists that are intelligent. Because one of the things that intelligent antagonists in stories tend to do is they always believe they're right. Correct?
Yeah, and there will be some serious flaw in their logic that makes you question how they can actually believe what they do if they're smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, where are the points of contradiction within his philosophy and his character that, present themselves, as more obvious to us because of this episode?
Well, okay,
I'm
you
hunting
go
for
first.
them right now.
But I didn't see many. See, here's the problem.
Really?
No, because the whole thing that you were saying of you think that he's still like a slave or doesn't have free will or whatever, you said something along those lines.
Not exactly.
Okay, because I have no idea where you got that from.
Oh, okay. I feel like Makishima is alone, like you said. He is effectively then lost.
Yeah.
I feel like someone who comes to that conclusion would end up deluding themselves with a philosophy that justifies their position in life right now.
Sure.
So the idea is that there is some area within his philosophy that is wrong, that is incorrect, like factually wrong, and he's basing it off of enough data that he has because he needs to justify his own existence. I feel like actually if he came to the conclusion that he was free, essentially, but no one else was, like when he was younger, he would have gotten into some really messed up crap in his head. Like, really messed up.
Sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there would be like
anything remaining now?
Yeah, or anything flawed in his logic or his philosophy. Right, like there would be logical contradictions. And if anything, I would just say that he would take whatever logic dictated to him to an extreme, like way too much of an extreme,
which makes it wrong, right? Like, isn't the truth wrong out of context? The idea that what he's saying is correct. He is the one actually killing Yuki, Jacob.
Yes, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right. Yeah, of course he's doing stuff that's morally wrong, but that
means his philosophy is wrong.
No, Caleb, you're conflating moral correctness,
right?
Or you're conflating morality with correctness, right?
Right. Yes, I kind of am.
The idea that you're saying that because he's doing stuff that's morally bad, that must mean there's a flaw in his logic somewhere.
Yes.
No, it just means that because if you have logic, there's given these things, you can get this. That just means that maybe the givens are wrong because he took morality out of the equation.
Right.
Based on that, though.
Right.
His logic.
So I'm not talking about necessarily just logic. I'm talking about his philosophy.
Well, from that sense, it doesn't say anything because, of course, his philosophy is whack. To some extent, because he is a psychopathic murderer.
But the thing is, we were agreeing with almost everything he said at this point where he was talking to Akane.
Except for the fact that, of course, he's taking it to an extreme where he is killing people,
which makes it wrong.
Yes, but it doesn't make it incorrect.
So this is good because this is actually what I was trying to get at, was that what makes his character so compelling is that he is right about a lot of his...
but just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what we need to look for as analysts of story and stuff is at what point is there a chink in his armor of his logic / philosophy / worldview / whatever. We know his morals are out of whack. But since he's removed those from the equation, let's remove our view of that from the equation.
And I would say if you take out the morality, then
is there no right or wrong?
Right or wrong as far as morality goes, or right or wrong as far as correctness with his reasoning?
Exactly, correctness with his reason. Because here's the thing that's interesting.
It's all a perspective and an opinion to one extent, but the steps that he used to get there didn't have any fallacies.
So that's where I know that there's something there. I know based on the fact that I've seen all these other stories where characters have this kind of flavor to them.
That is a huge jump.
I don't think so at all.
Okay.
I don't think so at all. Because how is this going to end, Jacob? How is this going to end?
Probably with him dying.
Well, why?
What do you mean, why? Because he's a psychopathic murderer. He needs to be stopped.
Yes, but that requires... Think about it. So right now what we have is a guy that can break the Sybil system.
Yes.
They cannot shoot him with Dominators.
Right. They
so
could still push him off a building. They could do whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what in order to stop him, according to you, you need to kill him.
Or lock him up or whatever,
but is that a possibility? Could we lock him up and leave him alive at the end of this story?
Sure.
Okay.
They have a special room in the 300 plus place for the people that break the system or whatever.
Right, but he didn't break the system.
Yes. Well, for him, he did. He didn't break the actual Sybil system, but he bypassed it. But the idea is that they will have to go around the Sybil system in order to make his end come about. Yeah, or make some addendum to the Sybil system where it's like, where it takes into account whatever Makishima's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So to an extent, he can't be stopped. It's the idea that what he represents will spread no matter what the protagonists do.
No, he can totally be stopped.
You're so contrarian right now. You just arguing with everything I say.
No, you're making these broad statements without like.
I don't know. This always been the way I've done theories. Like, I always start with the broad and move towards the specific.
Yes,
it's
to say something like he can't be stopped. It's like if you're talking about he can't be stopped with the Sybil system. It's like, all right, I agree. They've established that, and what does that actually say? And
what
then
does
if
that
you're
actually say?
Yeah, because they've already communicated that. So so that doesn't bring anything new to the table. If you're talking about he can't be stopped at all, hands down, no way, no how.
Well, his goal
that's obviously wrong.
His goal can be stopped. What I'm saying is,
he as a person can be stopped.
And he as a person can be stopped.
Yeah.
But the idea of what he represents can't be fully stopped. And that's, I think, the part that's going to be compelling about this story. Because as you can tell, we just shifted into part 2. Like,
yes, we
thematically,
totally
we just shifted. The main protagonist has seen and knows the face of what they're up against.
Right, and now it's going to be about Makishima and not his henchmen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with this story moving towards a conclusion where Makishima is going to hold essentially 2 things in his palm and basically offer the protagonist a choice, just like he did this episode.
Sure. Yeah, it'll probably be Kogumi versus killing him or something like that.
The point is, yeah, exactly. The point will be there will be a choice that will break the Sybil system and break one of their own morality, like their own codes of morality. And then the other one will be doing a little bit more of what he wants, but it will still break the Sybil system, and maybe there's just gonna be
it'll be something like this choice that we just saw. Yeah,
right.
Just on a larger scale with bigger stakes and
right. So my question is, do you see anything factually wrong with his logic so far? Because we don't know exactly why he's doing this, and that's why I think that we will find something factually wrong eventually.
Okay.
We know that he's stating obvious truths. It's the question of why and intent that gets into the whole thing of what the Sybil system actually is judging. We can't judge him on his intent because we don't know it yet, but I can say, as a kind of, I'm using the enforcer rules, I'm going into the profiling, into all the other stuff that's not factually correct. I'm getting, my sniff test is getting, aroused with that thing of, I smell that little ounce of hypocrisy, that little bit where, yes, he's doing morally things wrong, no question.
Okay. And yes, and I would say that ounce of hypocrisy is right there in broad daylight, because he is talking about freeing the soul, yet he's having these people kill other people, which is, removing other people's ability to, exist. Right.
So you have no problem with my theories about.
Yes, that there's some hypocrisy in there, but I would say but I don't think there's going to end up being something where there's some logical fallacy, right?
Interesting. Why?
Because with the exception of removing morality from the equation, right? Because that's the whole point of Makishima, I would say, right?
Really?
Or one of the main points. I would be personally disappointed if they made him have some logical fallacy,
because so this isn't about what you actually think will happen. This is
this is about what I think will happen, because what the writers have displayed so far is that they know what they're doing, right? They're not.
Yes.
They're not going to
Yes.
make a villain. The whole point of a villain like this is to get you to question what's going on,
Right.
Because what
we've
they're
been doing-
saying, because what they want to have happen is for you to listen to what the guy's saying, Makishima,
Right.
and be like, well, that's a sound line of reasoning, just completely without morality. So of course we can't go along with it,
Right.
But there isn't any inherent problem with what he's saying, right? Other than the lack of morality. If they introduced some big logical fallacy like you're talking about, then the respect for Makishima would completely go out the window as a villain. He would just end up being some, lunatic, crazy person.
We're not talking about Amon here, Jacob. I'm talking about a thing where he is not perfect. He is not a god. He does not have a perfect understanding of humanity.
Okay, well, from a strictly writing perspective, it would not make sense for them to essentially cut the legs out from under the villain and turn them into a cardboard cutout, mwahaha, I'm doing all this evil stuff for reasons that
I think now you're taking this way too far to the extreme. He's nuanced, Jacob. I think the point that you're trying to drive is that he's a villain. I'm not even calling him a villain at this point. He's basically some lost protagonist thinking he's a protagonist saving the world. Obviously he's not. Like that's the idea, is that he thinks he's a protagonist. He's not. Empirically, he is not a protagonist. He believes himself to be a protagonist, and that's why I know there has to be some kind of logical fallacy to his argument. The idea that what he's doing to break the Sybil system will free humanity in some way will actually revert things back to maybe a harsher extreme of where they were for a time, and he sees that as just being worth it. It's an ends justify the means kind of thing.
Or it ends up being something like Zahir, where he sees, the chaos as the natural state, because that's when people can truly be free.
Yeah, but Zahir was way too simple to compare him to something
I know,
like
I know,
Makishima.
but it's something similar to that, because...
Absolutely, yeah.
Something similar to that, right? With what he's been talking about, that almost spells it out, right?
Right, but in that example, we're not going to give too many spoilers here. They conflated restoring the natural order by doing a very specific thing that they tried to do.
Yeah.
That very specific thing they would try to do, there were parameters around that they couldn't have predicted if they succeeded, that would have ruined their goal in the future beyond their lifetime. So I think that's where Makishima essentially is messing up, is he is looking at things too much based around his own perspective, that he is right, that nothing that conflicts with what he's saying should be, reasoned with, because he's already thought ahead on those types of things. And these types of villains, yes, they do end up sometimes being, my plan is perfect and it will go to be.
Yeah.
But that's too simplified. That's not exactly what Makishima is.
And here's something that I could...
So obviously I don't think that.
Here's something that I could very much see happening. Mm-hmm. So... the whole thing of saving humanity, or whatever it is that Makishima might be trying to do,
right?
I don't think he's necessarily trying to save humanity. He's trying to do something that he thinks will, he's trying to get humanity to reclaim something they've lost, but I don't think he will care about actually saving humanity as a whole. In my mind, the cost doesn't matter.
Right.
The cost is completely doesn't matter, because he's saying we've lost something, we need to get that back at any cost, and if a bunch of people have to die in order to do it,
absolutely.
Well, whatever, we'll reclaim something at the end. People die all the time, right? And that's the whole lack of morality thing coming into play. Yeah. But I don't see it going beyond that.
Well, no, the explanation as to, let's say he either succeeds or he fails.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty black and white in that. There's obviously some nuanced parts where they both kind of succeed and fail, but let's just do this for ease of discussion. If he succeeds, more people will die, things will be chaotic and stuff. Right. But you can also kind of cheat this, Jacob. Mm-hmm. There's a second season,
right?
So he doesn't succeed.
Yes.
And that's kind of unfortunate that we know there's a second season, but I've always been looking at this as to the point of what is going to be his fall from grace. What is going to be his thing that undermines his own argument? And I think it's Akane.
Right. It's just a choice that she makes.
Well, yes, but the point is that what if Akane isn't like him? What if Akane is an example of someone that, I'm constantly just throwing out theories and stuff. I don't hold too strongly to really any of them. Mm-hmm. But this one I just kind of came up with like a few seconds ago. What if she's not like him, but she's an example of someone that actually did work within the system, does let her psychopath sometimes waver too much, but she's able to bring it back down by her own free will, which she actually does have, despite being in a system that's broken.
Right.
The idea that the system being broken is stronger than humanity's free will
is a little bit...
Exactly, which is a little bit of a logical fallacy. So there's potential for him to not be a hypocrite and have logical fallacy. He's just unaware. Kind of like he was saying with the Descartes, I think it was, who, if you're unable to make a choice because of their lack of intelligence, he's basically saying, because of my intelligence, I have the ability to make perfect choices.
Okay, so I think he's fully aware that humans still have choice, but he thinks it's tainted and it's not real choice.
Absolutely,
because there's this hammer that's waiting to drop on them if they really
100%
wanted to go out there.
100% agree.
And so that's not really a logical fallacy.
No, it's not. No. It's not. It's the idea that just as he's an exception, there are exceptions to his logic. Guys, this is fantastic.
This was an amazing
episode. This is an amazing episode.
Best one so far.
Like, just to recap, like, kind of what we went through here. We did the cat and mouse thing. It's finished. Yep. I think this is going to be a microcosm of what the rest of the season will be as a cat and mouse kind of thing for Makishima between Kogami and Akane and the side characters. No one died, surprisingly.
Well,
I'm
one
sorry.
person did
die.
I'm
sorry. Yuki did die. I meant none of the main characters that we expected to die.
So we did get an early character death, but it was so much of a side character, like, because she was only in like a couple episodes before when she was just talking with her friends at the cafe or whatever.
Right, but that is obviously going to affect Akane moving forward.
And that's okay.
She was effectively sacrificed on the altar of character development.
Yes, and I don't mind that because she didn't have any real character up to that point.
So things could be really interesting with Akane.
And here's one of the things I want to point out, all right? They killed a character that the audience did not care about. But
they made us care about it instantly.
But they made us care about it instantly because Akane cared about it. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the things that I would say can change whether a character death is good or whether it's crap. Yep. If you have a character die and you don't really let the audience see and feel just how much that loss affects the characters, you're not going to care. But if you take something like this, like where someone we didn't care about, she could have died and it's like, oh, okay, that sucks, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But seeing how it affects Akane, oh boy, this is like, gonna be good. This is going to be, I say that's going to be one of the highlight moments of the show.
When her knees started quivering and she picked up the shotgun, I was like, oh. Yeah. I feel you. Like, I was too much in shock, I think, by Makishima's amazing monologue to really feel what was going on right there. But that was rough because Akane's the straight shooter. Haha, no pun intended. She wasn't today. But the funny thing about that is that Akane now has the whole belief of what she believes about the Sybil system basically turned on its head.
Yes.
And she has a choice, to effectively say, no, that wasn't real. That couldn't be. That's like, I have to rely on what I know.
Sure.
I think she could actually fall back and maybe regress a little bit more in character development if she holds on too strongly to the Sybil system.
But I would say
that would be actually kind of character development.
That would be character development,
but it would be like it would be a mixed bag,
No, because here's why it could be great.
Yeah,
it's showing a character flaw. It's saying that they were pushed really far, and they do something that even though the audience might disagree, they just almost can't help it because they were so shaken by what happened.
Which is human nature. Right. I mean, come on, it's a coping mechanism.
Yes, exactly. And having stuff like that is one of the most amazing ways when handled well. You don't want melodrama and stuff,
handle it well.
Right?
That's
you
true.
need to handle it well. But when it's done well, that can be one of the best ways to take someone from being a character to being a person that lives in imagination land.
Right. So that's good because Akane is kind of a character right now, but she could become a person after this. Really well. Okay, I'm still shook by this episode. It was really
that was so good.
Really good. I'm excited. We're like halfway through.
Yep.
And
oh boy,
the rest of this season I can tell is going to be quite something.
Yes.
All right, guys. We'll see you again next time. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.